Welcome everyone near and far to our 45-minute Vinyasa practice today. We're going to begin our practice in Child's Pose. So facing the front of your mat, bring your knees out towards the edges of the mat. Bring your feet behind you with the big toes touching if you can. And then reach your arms out in front and let your forehead rest on the mat. If your forehead doesn't quite reach the mat, that's okay too. You can bring it to a pillow or a block if you have one, or you can fold your arms and let your forehead rest on your folded forearms if you like. Now we're going to take about 10 breaths in Child's Pose. Bring your awareness to your breath and begin to notice your breath as it flows in and flows out. And with each exhale, let your chest and your belly drop down just a little bit closer to the mat. At the same time, maybe walk your hands forward just a little bit more so that you're feeling a nice stretch in the back. Continue following the breath flowing in and out, and allow your whole body just to surrender to this pose, Child's Pose. Balasana is the name of the pose in Sanskrit. About 6 more breaths. Let everything start to slow and soften. And allow yourself to become present for this practice. Recognizing that you set this time aside for the yoga practice. Let everything else just recede into the background. And about 3 more breaths now. Keep your awareness on your breath. 2 more. And 1 more nice deep breath in. And then exhale and let the breath go. Now slowly rise up, walking your hands back towards your body. As you do that, bring your knees back so they're about hip-width apart, and then bring your palms to your thighs in hero pose. Sit up nice and tall, and then bring your shoulders back and down. Your gaze is straight forward towards the front of your space. Now bring your hands behind you, and either press the hands into the low back with the fingers pointing down, or if you can, maybe bring your hands to the mat behind you with the pinky fingers almost touching one another. Now on an inhale, we're going to find a back bend. Lift your chin high, look up towards the sky, and let the shoulder blades come a little bit closer together on the back. Let your head drop down even more. Feel the nice stretch in the throat. 2 more breaths. We're doing a total of 5 breaths in the pose. And 1 more. Now engage the core and slowly rise up. And then once you come all the way up, come to a seated posture. Cross-legged if you like, or you can still sit on the legs, whichever way works for you. Then once you're there, bring your right hand down and reach your left hand up. Lengthen the left side body. So reach up through that left wrist. Remember, we don't need a lot of energy in the fingertips or in the hand. So let the energy kind of stop at the wrists and reach through the wrist. Reach mostly up and not so much over. Now keep the right side of your body long. Try not to compress it. As you reach the left hand over just a little bit more, feeling a big stretch on the left side of the body. Stay anchored, of course, in the sitting bone on the left side. Now slowly bring the left hand forward, reaching through the left hand. You're kind of bringing it down as well. So you're feeling that stretch move into the middle part of the back. Continue bringing the left hand down towards the mat, and then eventually bring the left hand all the way down, and then reach out with the right hand. Stay grounded in that left sitting bone, and if you can, bring your shoulders so they're level with your torso parallel to that right thigh. Now,
Walk the hands on that kind of 45-degree diagonal that you're on. Take a deep breath in and exhale and let your upper body drop down over that right thigh. Do that one more time. A deep breath in and exhale. Now walk the hands back to center or over to center. We haven't been here yet. And walk the hands forward a little bit, maybe letting your forehead come down even more towards the mat. The lower part of the back is going to round, so don't worry about that. And now bring your chin to your chest. Draw your navel in as you rise up. Feel a nice stretch, maybe in the low back. And then reach both hands up and overhead and bring the left hand down. Now reach the right hand up, reaching through that right wrist. Stay anchored in the right sitting bone. And then begin reaching that right hand or the right wrist up and over to the left. Feel that nice stretch. At least I'm feeling it on the left side, or on the right side body rather. And I hope you're feeling it too. Now slowly, just like we did on the other side, begin to reach with that right hand. And for most of you, you're going to feel the stretch as you bring that right hand down towards the mat. You're going to feel that stretch move towards the spine, towards the center of the back. Keep reaching with that right hand and eventually bring it all the way down. And then walk the left hand forward and see if you can align your upper body with your left thigh this time. Shoulders stay nice and level. And then walk the hands forward a little bit. Take a deep breath in, and as you exhale, let your upper body begin to rest or come down towards that left thigh. Do that one more time. A deep breath in. And exhale and let it go. Now slowly walk the hands towards center. I guess I can say back towards center this time since we've been here before. Now stretch it out. Walk the hands forward. Press your tailbone down. Draw your navel in. Can you bring your forehead all the way down to the mat? Maybe. Now chin on chest. Lift the navel up as you rise. So you're rounding the spine. And then once you're all the way up, let your arms float up and overhead. Take opposite elbows now and reach the elbows up towards the sky. Ground into the sitting bones. So feel the sitting bones pressing into the mat. Now take a little bend to the left, reaching through that right elbow. Draw the navel in. And then back to center, reach the elbows high. And then over to the other side, reach through that left elbow to the right side. Let's do it one more time on each side. Back to center to start. Reach up high through the elbows, and then reach through that right elbow as the left elbow drops down. Inhale, rise up. This is the last time. Now reach through that left elbow. Stay grounded in the left sitting bone, and inhale, and rise all the way back up. Reach up high. Then as you exhale, bring the hands behind you. Press your palms into the mat. The pinky fingers are near one another, if not touching, and the fingers are pointing towards the back of the mat. On an inhale, lift your chin high, and then press the chest up towards the sky as you draw your elbows towards one another on your back. That'll bring your shoulder blades closer at the same time. 3 more breaths now in this nice deep back bend. Lift your gaze up even higher if you can. Feel the great stretch in the throat. 2 more breaths. And 1 more. Now slowly rise as the weight comes forward. Weight comes off the hands. Reach the arms up. And then exhale and bring the hands to heart center. Now bring the arms out to a T, and let's take a twist to the left. Bring your right hand to your left knee. The left hand comes down behind you. I'm going to turn to the side so you can see what I'm doing here. Left hand comes down behind you with the fingers on that left hand pointing to the right if you can, and then press that palm into the mat. Now take a deep breath in, and then as you exhale, draw your navel back and over to the left side. So you're twisting from the navel, and allow that action to cause your whole spine to twist to the left. Take a breath in and exhale and see if there's just a little bit more space for twisting. Don't force it. Don't force yourself into the twist. Allow your body to gently move into it. And now let it go. Come back to center. And then over to the other side. Left hand to right knee. The right hand comes down behind you with the fingers pointing to the left if you can. Now breathe in deeply so your spine lengthens. Then as you exhale,
twist from the navel, so drawing the navel to the right and looking over that right shoulder. Take a deep breath in, again, nice and long in the spine, and exhale and explore that space for twisting without forcing it. One more time, deep breath in and twist. Beautiful, let it go. Let's bring it all back to center. Now let's roll over the knees and come to table pose. In table pose, check in with your alignment. Make sure that your hands are under your shoulders and your knees are about under your hips. So what I mean by that is I don't want your hips way back here in back of your knees or way forward like this in front of your knees. Hips more or less right over the knees. And spread your fingers wide if you haven't done that like that, so that you can really feel contact with both the palms on the mat as well as the fingertips. Now draw your navel up and then let it drop down and lift your chin. Look forward towards the front of the room. And now lift your tailbone away from your knees. The movement is an isometric one, of course. You're not going to be able to lengthen that space very much. Now inhale to cat pose. And then exhale to cow pose. The belly drops down, the chin lifts up, your gaze is forward. Do that again. Inhale to cat or to cow. I keep getting that mixed up. And then inhale to cat. And boy, I'm really having trouble with this today. Inhale to cow pose. We should almost start over. And exhale to cat. And again, inhale to cow. And exhale to cat. 3 more times. Inhaling to cow pose. And exhaling to cat. And once more. Inhale to cow. And a big exhale to cat. Hold here. Press the hands into the mat, the palms as well as the fingertips. Now draw your navel up towards your spine and let your forehead come a little closer to your knees. Feel that deep, deep sense of rounding forward. And then let it go. Back to table pose. Your spine in a nice neutral position. Let's step the right foot forward now. So the right foot comes between the hands. And then rise up into a low crescent lunge. Reach the arms up and overhead and press the right knee forward a little bit. And I've untucked my toes on my left foot. The pose feels most comfortable for me that way. If you feel like you want to tuck your toes, you can do that as well. Now your gaze is forward, so you're looking straight towards the front of the room that you're in, and your gaze is level, so you're not looking down like that at your mat or up towards the sky. We may get there eventually, but for now I want you to look straight forward, then press your right knee forward a little bit more until you begin to feel a stretch at the front of the left thigh in those hip flexor muscles. Little engagement in the quadricep on the right side, the quadricep muscles, all 4 of those. Now bring your arms out to a T, palms face forward. And then take a twist to the right with the palms facing to the right. And then back to center, reach the arms high. Bring the palms together, interlace the fingers, point the index fingers up towards the sky. Your gaze is still level. Now lift the gaze up and then reach up and back with the index fingers. Take a breath. And then exhale and release. Bring the hands all the way down. And now straighten the right leg, pull that right hip back, pull the left hip forward a little bit, and now see if we can reach your head forward just another ½ inch or so, not very far. Now pull the right hip back, pull the left hip forward even more. And that's it. Release, bend the right knee, and then step the right knee back so it meets the left knee. Walk the hands forward about 4 or 5 inches, then press back towards child's pose. The knees don't move. They're still about hip width apart. Now glide forward, lifting the navel high, and then gliding the hips forward and down. Notice my shoulders are pretty much right over my hands. And then back towards table pose. Walk the hands back under the shoulders. Step your left foot forward, bringing the left foot between the hands. You may want to scoot that left foot over a little bit to the left to give you a little bit wider stance. Now press in the left foot and rise, and we'll come to our low crescent lunge on the second side. So our left foot is forward. Now press the left knee forward a little bit. And again, the toes on the right foot can be tucked or untucked. It's your choice. Gaze is straight forward. Now the arms come out to a T. Reach the hands apart from one another so you feel a little stretch at the top of the chest. Relax the shoulders. Now take a twist to the left. Palms face to the left. One more breath. And then back to center. Let your arms float high. Now interlace the fingers. Point the index fingers. Arrow mudra. And your gaze is forward still. Now press in the left foot and then lift your gaze so the chin lifts. And reach up and back with the index fingers. Feel the back bend. Breathe. Now slowly rise all the way back up. Release the hands and bring them down. And then step that left knee back to meet the right knee. Come back to table pose. And then walk the hands forward about one hand length, just like we did on the other side. And then press the hips back towards child's pose. Stretch out the back. Feel that nice stretch in the armpits. At least I'm feeling that. Now lift your navel up. Glide the hips forward. Then press the hips down. Lift your gaze so you're looking straight forward. Elbows are straight. Shoulders more or less right over the hands. Lift the heart a little bit more. And then press back towards child's pose again. And glide the hips forward and down. And back towards child's pose. And twice more. Gliding forward. And pressing back. And last one. Gliding forward. And pressing back. Now come to table pose. Bring your hands back under your shoulders. And then step the right foot forward. Second time here. And then tuck the toes and bring the left knee off the mat. Straighten the right leg. Pull the right hip back. Pull the left hip forward. The left knee is off the mat and the toes on the left foot are tucked. Now plant your left hand on the mat, more or less under your face. And then lift the right hand high, stretching it up. Reach through the wrist. Relax the fingers and the hand on that right side. 2 more breaths here. And 1 more. Now bend the right knee, bring the right hand down, and then step the left foot back to, or right foot rather, back to plank pose, so we're all meeting in plank. Take a breath. And now bring the knees to the mat. Let your chest and chin follow as we come into Cobra Pose. Tops of the feet pressing down into the mat. And then release. Now tuck your toes, stiffen your body as you push to plank, and then lift your hips into downward facing dog. Very first time in downward dog. Press the heels down, lengthening the spine. Now glide forward to plank, and the knees come to the mat. We're back to table pose. Now step your left foot forward between the hands, and then tuck the toes and bring the right knee off the mat. Pull that left hip back. Pull it back a little bit more. Pull the right hip forward just a bit. I'm feeling that sensation in the back of my left leg. Now leave the right hand on the mat. Just plant it right below your face, and then slowly lift the left arm up and overhead. Take a deep breath. And 1 more. Now bring the left hand down, bend the left knee, and then step the left foot back so it meets the right foot in plank pose. Take a breath in plank. And 1 more. On the exhale, bring the knees to the mat, chest and chin follow. Inchworm your way into Cobra Pose, and the heart comes up off the mat in Cobra. Take a breath. And release. All the way down. Now tuck your toes, push to plank. Take a breath in plank. Now roll over on the pinky toe side of that right foot and reach the left hand up. This is a side plank. So options for you here. You can bring that left foot to the mat as well. That'll make the pose more stable. Or you can bring the left foot on top of the right foot. You can lift the left foot up if you want more energy out of the pose, and even reach your left hand forward with the palm facing down. Let's everybody release, bringing the foot down and the hand down, back to table pose, or back to plank pose, and now flow through Vinyasa. Upward facing dog. And when you're ready, find downward facing dog.
Press the heels down towards the mat. Second time we've been here. Spine is nice and long. Pressing the hands into the mat. Take a deep breath. And on the exhale, press your heels down towards the mat. Do that again. A big deep breath. And exhale the heels down. Now glide forward to plank. Now let's find side plank on our second side. And again, you can bring that right foot on top of the left foot, or you can bring the right foot to the mat at the same time. Either way works. Reach the right hand up. Maybe right hand reaches forward. Maybe pick up that upper foot, that right foot. Release the foot. Release the hand back to plank pose, and it's time for another vinyasa. Upward dog and downward dog. Now 5 breaths in downward dog. And 4 more. Big, deep, full breaths. If you feel like you want to pedal out your legs, go ahead and do that as well. 3 more breaths. And 2 more. And 1 more breath in downward facing dog. Now bend your knees and take your hop forward or walk. Eventually find your feet between your hands. Let your head drop down. Now bring the weight into the front of the feet a little bit more. Bend your knees if you want to. What we're working towards here is lengthening the spine. So not necessarily creating a huge amount of sensation in the hamstrings, in the back of the legs, or in the glutes. So if you're feeling a lot of sensation there, maybe bend your knees a little bit more and bring your upper body so it rests on your thighs, letting your head drop down. 1 more breath. Now the arms come out to a T with the palms facing down. Keep your weight in the front of the feet and then slowly rise. Keep your spine long. Try not to round as you rise. Probably feel that in the glutes now. And then let your arms float high. And then exhale and bring your hands to heart center. Take a deep breath. Good job. Leave the right foot forward and step the left foot back 3/4 step. We're going to find warrior 1 with the right knee with the right knee bent. Shoulders square to the front of the mat. Maybe bend that right knee a little bit more. Now, bring the hands behind you. Interlace your fingers behind your back and straighten your elbows as much as you can, drawing the shoulder blades together. Your gaze is still straight forward, nice and level. Shoulders are square to the front of the mat. Now straighten the right leg. Press into the right foot. Keep your hips square to the front of the mat. Hinge at the hips and come about halfway down. And once you're there, lift your hands up and keep staring down directly at your mat. Now, press into that right foot and slowly come back up. And then exhale and fold forward 2nd time. We're going to do it 3 times on each side. So this is number 2 on this side. Rise back up, pressing into the right foot. And 3rd and last one on this side. Keep your spine long, remember that. Reach your knuckles up even more, get a nice stretch in the shoulders, and then press into the right foot. And rise all the way back up. Once you're there, take a deep breath, and then as you exhale, bend the right knee, release the hands, let your hands float high. And then as you exhale, bring the hands to heart center. Now step the left foot forward so it meets the right foot, and we're in a standing posture, mountain pose at the front of the mat. Take a deep breath and let your whole spine lengthen. Feel like you're getting taller as you breathe in. Then as you exhale, hinge at the hips. Keep the spine long. Bend the knees a little if you need to. Come to a half lift now with the hands at the top of the shins, pressing the palms into the shins and again lengthening the spine. The weight's still in the front of the feet, not on the heels. And then as you exhale, fold forward and let your head come down. Now with chin on chest, round the spine as you rise, drawing your navel up as you come up. And let your arms float high. Look up. And then bring the hands back to heart center. Take 3 breaths. You can let your eyes close down if you like.
Just feel the energy flowing through your body. Enjoy the flow. One more breath. We're going to step back now into Warrior One, leaving the left foot on the mat. Step the right foot back. Toes on the right foot pointing to the upper right corner of the mat, more or less. Bend the left knee, reach the arms high. Shoulders square to the front of the mat. Maybe bend that left knee just a little bit more, challenging the quadricep. And now gaze straight forward. Gaze nice and level. Now bring the hands behind you, interlace the fingers, do it in the awkward way using the non-dominant grip, and then press the knuckles down towards your right heel, drawing the shoulder blades together on the back. Left knee is still nice and bent. Now straighten the left leg, press into both feet, hinge at the hips, and come down about halfway, keeping your spine long until you're looking straight down, and then maybe lift your arms up a little bit, and then press into the left foot and rise all the way back up. That's the first one. We're going to do two more on this side. Hinging at the hips. Lift the arms up. Gaze is straight down. And then press into the left foot. Keep pulling that left hip back and the right hip forward so the hip stays square to the front of the mat. And we rise. Left leg is still straight. Last one. You're doing great. Halfway down. Gaze straight down. Lift the arms up a little bit more. And then press into the left foot. And rise all the way back up. Once you're up, bend the left knee. Let your arms float high. And then exhale the hands to heart center. Bring the weight into that left foot and step the right foot forward into mountain pose. Take a breath. And two more. And one last breath. I don't mean it's your last breath ever, but just for that pose. Now keep your weight in your right foot. Step your left foot all the way back and spin the heel to the mat. Let's find Warrior Two. So step all the way back to Warrior Two. Check in with your alignment. Make sure the toes on the left foot point 90 degrees to the left. Toes on the right foot pointing straight forward with that knee pointing exactly the same direction. Take a breath. Now extended side angle pose. Bring the elbow to the knee. Reach through that left hand. Stretch out of that left shoulder. Anchor into the pinky toe of the left foot. So you feel a big stretch coming into the whole left side of the body. Now rise to reverse triangle pose and reach up and back. And then back to Warrior Two. And back to extended side angle pose. This time a half bind. Reach the left hand up and left hand comes behind you. Bring the palm of the left hand to the right thigh if you can. Open that left shoulder. Keep bending that right knee. The right knee is still bent about 90 degrees. You can look up if you like, if that feels good. Release from the bind back to extended side angle pose and then rise to reverse triangle pose, second time. And then extended side angle pose again. This is the third time on this side. And then reverse triangle, last one on this side. And then back to Warrior Two. Settle into Warrior Two. Take a breath. And now bring the hands down on either side of the right foot and come up onto the ball of the left foot. We've come to runner's lunge. Step the right foot back to plank pose. Take a breath in plank. And then when you're ready, flow through your vinyasa. Come to upward facing dog. And when you're ready, it's time for downward facing dog. 5 breaths now in downward dog. Big, deep breath. 3 more. And 2 more. And 1 more breath in the pose. And let it go. Keep the left foot on the mat. Reach the right leg up and find 3-legged dog, opening the hips to the right. Open the hips a little bit more and relax the right foot a bit if you can. And then level the hips. Bring that right foot down so it meets the left foot and glide forward to plank pose, and then through a vinyasa into upward facing dog. Feel the nice back bend, and when you're ready, downward facing dog. As you inhale, lift the left leg this time and find three-legged dog on the left side, working on stacking the left hip over the right hip, relaxing that left foot so you don't have a lot of energy, a lot of tension in the left foot. Then level the hips off and step the left foot forward into runner's lunge, maybe a second or third effort if you need to, and then spin the right heel to the mat and rise to warrior two. I'm going to face away from you this time. Gaze is forward over the extended left hand, left knee bent and pointing straight forward. Anchor into the pinky toe of that right foot. And now extended side angle pose. Reach with the right hand. Stay anchored into the pinky toe of that right foot. Now rise to warrior two and then straighten the left leg. Reach up and back with the left hand into a reverse triangle pose. Stretch out the left side body. Now back to warrior two and extended side angle pose. Second time on this side. And this is where we're going to add the half bind. Reach up and then bring that right hand behind you so you can connect it with the thigh. Maybe look up towards the sky if you like. Stay grounded in that pinky toe of that right foot, deeply anchored. One more breath in the half bind. Release, back to extended side angle, and then rise, reverse triangle. Now the arms come out to a T. Bend the left knee, extended side angle. This can be our last one. And then rise to our final reverse triangle pose. And then back to warrior two. Now bring the hands down on either side of the left foot. Come up onto the ball of the right foot. Step the left foot back to plank pose and flow through a vinyasa. Upward dog. And then when you're ready, downward facing dog. 5 breaths now in downward dog. Do your best to lengthen your spine. Make an effort to press your hands into the mat as though what you were trying to do is push the front of the mat forward. At the same time, reach your tailbone back and up, and maybe bend the knees a little bit if that's creating too much sensation in the back of the legs. So what I want you to experience in this pose, in this moment, is lengthening of the spine and not so much a big stretch in the hamstrings or the glutes. One more breath. Now bend your knees. Hop forward and then bend the knees and rise. And let's find our very first chair pose. Actually, we're just going to do one. So it'll be our first and only chair pose of this practice. Settle into the pose. Bring your weight back into your heels. Reaching up. Gaze forward, nice and level if you can. Start to feel that in the quadriceps. Just 2 more breaths. You can do it. I know you can. Stay with it. Just 1 more breath. I know it was a long breath. Fantastic. Now hands to heart center. Stay in the pose. Left elbow to right knee. Chair twist. Back to center. Other side. Right elbow to left knee. And back to center. Reach back up into chair. And that's it. Straighten your legs. And then swan dive to a forward fold. Come to a half lift. And exhale and let your head drop all the way down. Take opposite elbows here if you like. And press the elbows down towards the big toes, feeling that great stretch in the back. Bend the knees a little if you want. Let your weight come forward into the front of the feet. Now you can probably press your elbows down even closer to the mat. And release the hands. Bring them down to the mat. Then bend the knees. Come all the way to a seat. Excuse me. And once you're seated, let's come all the way down to the back. Once you're on your back, we're going to do a supine figure 4. So bring your left ankle to your right knee and then interlace the fingers behind that right leg and press the left knee away just using the strength of the leg. There's no need to push it with your hand. Try and pull your tailbone down towards the mat, so don't lift up like that. Instead, press the tailbone down and then press that left knee away. 3 more breaths in the pose on this side. And 2 more. And let's find 1 more. And release. Now hug the knees into the chest. And then bring the arms out to a T. And let your knees travel to the left. And then bring them back to center and over to the right. You may feel a little massage right at the tailbone and the sacrum, and then over to the left. And then back to center and over to the right. Kind of massaging the upper part of the glutes and over to the left. And back to center and to the right. And then back to center. And now let's find the other side of our supine figure 4. So bring the right ankle to the left knee. And the instep of my right foot is just about even with the very top of my knee. Now interlace the fingers behind that left leg. And press the right knee away. Pull the tailbone down. And now 3 breaths. Breathe in deeply, and on the exhale, press that right knee away just a little bit more, noticing where you're feeling sensation in the pose. 2 more breaths. Breathing in, and then exhaling, pressing the knee away. And 1 more time. Deep breath in. This time, tug the left knee in a little bit closer to your body and press the right knee away on the exhale. And then let it all go. Bring the knees together, hug them into your chest. You can bring your forehead up towards your knees if you like. And then release the tailbone to the mat. Bring your hands down by your side. Straighten your legs. Press your heels to the sky, legs up the wall pose. Relax the back of the shoulders so that they rest nicely on the mat. And we're going to move towards plow pose now, but as always, you can remain in legs up the wall if you prefer. If you want to move into plow, now's the time to do that. And we're going to find 2 breaths in plow pose. And 1 more. And then those in plow, return to legs up the wall pose, feeling that nice little massage on the back as you come back up. And then bend the knees and bring the soles of the feet to the mat, preparing for either bridge pose or wheel pose. I'll give you the option. When you're ready for bridge, press your feet into the mat and lift your hips. Rock the shoulders back towards the back of the shoulders anyway, towards one another under the body. Press your hips a little bit higher. If you press your hips high enough, you'll start to feel a stretch on the front of the legs. 2 more breaths. And 1 more. And now release from bridge or wheel. And once your tailbone lands, hug your knees into your chest. And then bring your forehead towards your knees, rounding the spine. Then release the head down to the mat. Bring the arms out to a T. And now cross your right leg over your left leg if you can. And then scoot your hips over to the left. And then let your knees travel to the right and land. Your gaze is to the left. So your left hip is above the mat. Your right hip is on the mat. Your gaze is to the left. 2 more breaths. And 1 more. Let the knees come back to center. Now center your hips on your mat and cross the legs the other way. And then let the knees travel over to the left and land. And let your gaze shift to the right. Now 3 breaths. And 2 more. See if you can relax the back of that right shoulder a little bit so it can rest on the mat. It may help to scoot the left shoulder over to the left a little bit. And 1 final breath. Now gently back to center with the knees. Uncross the legs. And once you're there, hug the knees into your chest. And then bring your forehead up towards the knees if you like. Really rounding the spine, coming into a little ball. And then release the head. Bring the hands down to the mat and lift your legs up to the sky. Legs up the wall pose. And we're going to do a second plow pose if you want, or just remain where you are and legs up the wall. If you want to move into plow, go ahead and do that now. 2 deep breaths. And then exhale and bring the tailbone down to the mat if you're in plow. So we all come back to legs up the wall pose. And then bend the knees, soles of the feet to the mat for a second bridge pose. Or if you prefer, wheel pose. When you're ready, press the feet into the mat, lift the hips. And we're going to find 3 breaths in bridge. Watch if your knees are coming apart. They should remain about hip width throughout the whole pose. So if you find your knees moving apart, just bring them back together and then lift your hips a little bit higher, pressing your feet into the mat. 1 more breath. And let it go. Now bring the feet back up into legs up the wall pose. Then I want you to reach your fingertips. So straighten your arms, reach your fingertips towards your big toes. And then on an inhale, lift your upper body up so that your fingers come close to your big toes. And then lift your tailbone off the mat and point your toes, lifting everything up towards the sky. 1 more breath here. And then exhale and release. And then inhale, reach back up. And exhale and down. Let the tailbone come down, the back of the shoulders down. Just 1 more time. Inhale and up. Now lift the tailbone off the mat. Now bring the hands to the pinky toe side of the feet for happy baby pose. Now the soles of the feet come together, and see if you can pull your heels down closer to your pubic bone. The knees are coming apart, but keep a hold of the feet. 1 more breath. Now rock yourself to a seat. And I'm going to turn to face you. And we're in Cobbler Pose. And we're going to do 1 final twist. This is Fire Log Pose. So bring the right shin so it's parallel rather to the front of your mat. And maybe that right knee can rest all the way down on the mat. Then bring the left foot on top of the right knee, and then the left knee on top of the right foot. So the shins are parallel to one another. Now lengthen your spine. Now take a gentle twist to the left. And then back to center, and a very gentle twist to the right, and back to center. Let's cross the legs the other way now. So the right foot is on the mat, the left foot is on the mat, and the left knee is on the mat. The right foot is on top of the left knee, and the right knee is on top of the left foot. Take a deep breath. Let your spine lengthen. And then take your twist to the right. Breathe in. And on the exhale, flow gently over to the other side. And then back to center. If you want, you can hinge at the hips And feel that nice stretch in the hips and the low back and the gluteal muscles as you fold forward. May feel pretty intense. And then inhale and rise back up. And then release from fire log just to a cross-legged position. Bring your hands to your knees, palms facing down. Sit up nice and tall. And as we bring our practice today to an end, take a deep breath in. And then a big open mouth exhale, letting everything go. Do that again, a deep breath in. And let the breath go. Join me in bringing your hands to heart center, pressing the palms together, and offering loving kindness. May you be happy and well, and may you be safe. May you be peaceful, and may you be at ease. Thank you so much for joining me today. Namaste.